Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome. I apologize for the delay. I'm here. So come on in. Thank you for being here, everybody. Just say hello as you're coming in. Still getting used to setting everything up here. And I noticed that the audio was a little bit strange yesterday. So if there's some issues with echoing and things like that, please just let me know. Good to see you. If you're in my Telegram, if you're following my Telegram, then I put a message in there earlier saying that I was going to be coming on at 5:30, and then I logged in and everything was not working. So that's just one of those things, right? And so one day I'll have a producer and I'll call up my producer and say, "Hey, why isn't this working?" So, but we're here, and just good to see everybody. So welcome. Glad you're here. I'm Mary Grace. This is Mary Grace Media. We're going to just talk a little bit today about what's going on, and just good to see everybody. Yeah. So if you're not following me on Telegram, I have an official channel over there. It's Mary Grace Media Official. So please make sure you're following, and you don't want to miss any broadcast over there. And so, yeah, just get over there and follow the channel. I do have a private chat as well, and that is Mary Grace Media chat, and you have to subscribe to my mailing list to get that link for that private chat. So just make sure you do that. And hold on a second, I gotta fix this. Sorry, it's cutting off my head. All right. How's that? So yeah, just make sure you get over there and you get to my website, marygracemedia.com, and then subscribe to my emails so that you'll get a reply with all of my links there. Yeah, there is a lot happening, and I'm keeping busy. So I mentioned yesterday that I'm going to start pushing my show times back to 5:30. There's just a lot going on with other meetings that I have during the day, and so the 5 o'clock time frame is a little bit tight. So I apologize if that doesn't work for other people. Did I know that somebody on Facebook is asking about my tailor? It's a koa. It's a koa. It's a cutaway. I'll show it to you. Yeah, Bob Taylor. I didn't know that. There's my guitar. Yeah. So, isn't the factory, is it in Tennessee? Taylor Factory? Am I thinking of something else? So, it's not the like top of the line $4,000 koa Taylor, but it's pretty good. So, okay, squirrel. Okay, here we go. I just found an interesting article. I wanted to talk a little bit about the medical intervention that people are being required to take just to function in life. And if you recall, when this whole situation first came about, I was one of the first people to say it's not going to stop at the face covering. And I hate to say that I was right. I mean, everybody could see the writing on the wall. That's why I refused from the start to comply with that, because I always knew that it wasn't just about the face covering. It was always about control, right? And so I recently learned, one of our friends told us in the Telegram chat that the nursing home where his mother is, they have prevented the family from seeing them for almost a year now, from seeing the mother. This is our friend Todd, my wingman. And his mother is in a nursing home, and she has been isolated from the family for so long. And they are now allowing one family member a week, and the family member can be with the mother for 20 minutes. One a week. But then there's a catch. And the catch is that the family member, any family member that wants to see her, has to have the two-part um, injection. Does anybody else find that absolutely infuriating and wrong? So imagine having your mother held hostage by a company that is actually being paid to take care of her, and and being told that you have to, that the only way you can see her is by getting that um, thing, by complying. Yeah, so FaceTime might work, but honestly, a year, that's not the same, you know? I mean, you want to see, the whole point of family and personal interaction is that you touch, that you connect. The whole reason behind this, I just want you to understand is that this was never about the sickness. Okay, the pandemic is the fear and the control. Yeah, this is a big problem. And so, and the other problem is that you have people who are in middle management roles who know who don't know how to handle leadership. And so when they're given a little bit of leadership, when they're given a little bit of responsibility and control, then they take it to the nth degree. And this is a problem. Anytime you see people who are put in positions of leadership who don't have the character or the disposition for it, they turn into tyrants. And I'll give you an example of something that happened to me last week. But what do you think about that? What do you think about being told that you can't see your loved one without proof of having had that done? What would you do? Would you get a forgery? Honestly, I think that's what I would do. I told somebody the other day I have the antibodies. Yeah, I mean, would you just do it? Would you say that's just the way life is now? Relocate her? I think it's happening in the whole state. They're in Arizona, so they're under these draconian dictatorships. Crazy. There's a nursing home near my house. I think I showed you. It's a memory care center, and I noticed that people are sitting outside in chairs, sitting outside the building, and just can't go in. So they're literally just sitting there outside in chairs talking to each other, and their loved ones are trapped inside, imprisoned. And the other thing that I noticed is that I walked by there one night and there were a lot of dark rooms. They can't eat in the common room anymore. And so there's just a lot of empty rooms. I agree they want the elderly to die off because most of the elderly are outliving the projections for Social Security. And so, you know, they want to force people. They want to force them to get off of, because they're using our money to fund their own selfish gains, their own selfish ends. That's what they're doing all these years. Think of the trillions. Like I think it's in the multiple quadrillions of money that has been laundered by the politicians that have been spent and laundered back into the pockets of these politicians, the people that we put in office. because the original Social Security age I think was 65, and at the time I believe the life expectancy was 64. So yeah, exactly. But here's what happened to me the other day. I put this in the chat. Some people couldn't believe it, but I went to a store and I went in without the face covering on, and I went in without the face covering, and I was shopping, and I've been there many times. This is a store. This is a business that my family has patronized for generations, and I own a lot of their stuff, and I've always referred people there because I've always liked their stuff. So the I went in and I was shopping around. I'm just looking at your comments. Yeah, so I was shopping around and just looking around, and I had ordered something online. I wanted to pick it up in the store, and so the there was no problem. You know, I was just trying a couple things on, looking at the sale rack, and then I went up to the front to get my item, and as soon as I walked up to the front, they have all the plastic and everything, so there's no way you can even touch anybody, right? And so I went up there, and a manager came up to me, and at this point I hadn't had any interaction with anybody. I wasn't near anybody, and she came up and she said, "Can I get you a mask?" And I said, "Oh no, thank you," because I didn't need one. And then she said, "Well, then you'll have to leave." And I said, "Well, I ordered something online, so why don't you can you just get it for me, and then I'll pay for it, and then I'm finished shopping, so I'll go." And then she said, "No, you can't do that. You have to go out in the car and we'll bring it to you." Mind you, I'm already in the store. I've already been in there 15 minutes. So, if they were going to catch the Rona from me, they would have already caught it. And so at that point, it's unreasonable, right? She's trying to stand on principle of not wanting me to be able to shop because I wasn't complying. And so she said, you would have to leave. And I said, yeah, I said, if you can I said, just let me get my package, and then, here, I'll give you my credit card, and you can ring me up, and then I'll go. And she goes, I don't want to touch your card. And I said, okay, I'll just put it in the slot, and you can slide my item across the counter around the plastic, and then I'll go. And so then she said, well, no, you can't do that. I'm just going to call the police. She did. So I said, well, you do what you have to do. I'm not leaving. And so just be aware that my my governor, as ridiculous as he is, he does say that you're not required to wear that if you have a medical reason, okay? And that you're not forced to show that by federal law. And so that's what I said. I said, I'm exempt from this. Well, it's store policy. So she went over to the phone, and then the other girl, I said at the register, I said, hey, can you just ring me up and I'll go? I'm not trying to make a problem. I just want to get my item. So nope, she couldn't do it. Nope, you got to put a mask on. I said, well, you have one on and you're behind plastic, and I'm not sick. Well, how do we know that? We don't know that. You could be. I said, you can't treat everybody like they're sick. You just can't do that. And then I said, are you in the habit of treating people with disabilities like this? Like if I were sitting here in a wheelchair, would you be telling me that I had to leave the store? That's not a good look. So they persisted. And then this is the crazy thing. The manager actually came over, and and gave me my item, and I paid for it. And so, but they still kept arguing with me. And I just kept saying, I was like, this is not okay that you're treating somebody this way just because they don't I don't have a physical limitation. It's discrimination. And so then a customer walks up and butts in, puts his nose in it, and he comes up to me and he says, "Why don't you just get the F out of here?" Really belligerent. And I said, "Are you always do you always I said, "Do you bully all women or just the ones you don't know?" And so he went over to the register and, paid. They let him pay because he was compliant. And um and so so then um then the manager just kept at it. And by this time I was filming, and I was trying to talk to them about it, and I was trying to be reasonable, right? And I said, I'm not sick. You really shouldn't treat people this way. I've shopped in this store for years. My family's been customers here for years. And um and so she um so then she looked at me and she said, "You always do this. Every time you come in here, you're the only person in the store without a mask." And I said, "I actually haven't been in the store in quite some time, so I don't know what you're talking about." And so then another customer chimes in. So by this time, I have customers and the manager and the staff all harassing me and bullying me because I won't comply. And I was filming it. So then, I got irritated. And this one woman was at the register, and she had the mask right here. And so I said, and she was yelling too. She's like, "Get out of here, just leave, just leave." And I said, "Listen, if you're going to tell me what to do, you better," I said, you better pull your mask up because you're not following directions. I mean, I was just giving it right back to him at that point. And then the police came, and all the people were happy. It was the saddest thing. The things that really disturbed me the most about this situation were that the police actually came, and that they're allowing themselves to be bullied by these businesses that are are victimizing customers. They've and B, that these other customers were cheering that the police were there to take care of somebody who wasn't complying with these ridiculous rules. That's the saddest thing. The other sad thing was that it was very clear that the manager had singled me out, right? Because when she said, "You always do this," then I knew that it was about more than just, "Oh, there's a customer here without a mask on." It was about me. At that point, it had become about me, right? And so the yeah, because guys, this is how the reason that I have been standing so strong on this, and I've been encouraging you to, is that this is what happened to the Jews. They were labeled as people who carried disease, right? So the propaganda was that they were dirty, that they were vermin, that they were swine, that they carried disease. And so I want to make it very clear to you that the reason that I stand my ground is because I am not going to be stigmatized and treated like a second class citizen and told that I can never walk into a store again, that I have to shop from my car because of the chance that I might be sick. That's the point here. And think about this. Think about this, because there are diseases that are actually highly communicable and contagious, one of which is tuberculosis. And never before in history has anybody ever even considered making a person who might have tuberculosis stay outside of a store. Because the truth of the matter is, people who carry that don't know that they have it. And so if we were going to follow science, if we were going to follow principle, then nobody could ever walk into a store for the chance that they might unknowingly have tuberculosis, because that's actually spread by the droplets. So this is a really scary thing, because what you have is you have other customers and community members who are thinking that this is good, that they're doing a good thing. I've had people report me in stores, and then a manager comes and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, the other customers, uh, you know, aren't comfortable, or they asked me to tell you to put the mask on." And again, that's not okay. And I've explained that, and I've said, very politely, uh, it's not okay for you to allow other customers to bully you into violating the medical rights of other individuals. And so in my situation, the police came, and this officer walked me out. He was trying to de-escalate the situation. And I was talking, by this time I'm talking to these people. I said, look, I said, if this is as real as you think it is, if it's as dangerous as you think it is, at this point I'm just trying to educate, right? If it's really what you think it is, then you would have to put every single item of clothing that you have on in a hazmat suit before you could even leave the store. You'd have to do it every hour. And the really sad thing about this manager and the other people is they wouldn't hear what I had to say. That, it was like, no, I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to hear you. That's just, that's your facts. I want the science. I said, well, if you want science, then you would have to understand that what you think is happening right now isn't happening. Because if it were truly as dangerous as you think, then you would have to, put every single thing into a hazmat disposal. The thing that's on your face right now, once you touched it, then you would have to put it in a hazmat. Just use your brain. Try to understand what's really going on here. Because you're not, I said, you guys seem kind of smart, but you're not using your brain. You're just not thinking. Just think for a minute about what's really going on here. And then I tried to appeal to her. I said, look at this. I said, look what's happening here. You and I are pitted against each other. That's what they want. They want you to think that I'm your enemy. I'm not sick. I'm not here to make you sick. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes in a situation like that, there were other people in the store, right? Maybe one person got a nugget of what I was trying to say. Yeah, people would be dropping like flies if it was true, if what they think is true. There's a disconnect there. And so when I got outside with the officer, he was asking me what was going on, and I said, I don't understand what the problem is. And he said, well, they said you were creating a disturbance. I said, I wasn't creating a disturbance. I said, I was trying to buy something, and I have a right to do that. And then he said, well, they can ask you to leave the premises if you're creating a disturbance. And I said, well, I said, I was talking, I was exercising my First Amendment rights, but, I have a right to do that. And so, then he said, and I said, am I being detained? And he said, no. And I said, well, then I don't think we have anything else to talk about. And he said, is there anything else you want to ask me? And I said, no, I didn't call you here. I didn't ask you anything in the first place. I don't know why you're here. So, I was pretty upset, obviously, but then I called the company, and this is the part that really disturbs me. I called them and I explained to them what happened, and I talked to a supervisor, and I said, I said my family's been shopping here for years, and I was just treated like a criminal, and I don't understand that. Help me to understand that. Help me to understand why it's okay for me to be bullied and singled out, not only by the customers in the store, but by the manager. Can you help me understand that? And of course they couldn't. And they said that somebody was going to call me back. They said that they had sent my information to the president of the company. That was Friday. This is Tuesday. Nobody has called me back. So I'm not going to name the company yet. I'm giving them a chance to make it right. But so far, I've been completely disappointed. And I'm about to take everything I've bought there in the last 5 years and put it on the counter and demand a refund. Because I have such a bad taste in my mouth. And the problem is that, the corporate fosters this culture. Because on the other side of the coin, right, they're the ones that are fostering this culture. They're putting this person in a position to be pitted against customers and to get on this power trip. And so I've been spitting fire a little bit, to be honest, but the thing that I've noticed, so in the past couple of days, I went to Home Goods and I went to TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and they're owned by the same company. And something that I've noticed when you're walking around in those stores, they have the little thing on the loudspeaker that says something about the distancing and the thing about wearing the face covering. And the thing that I like about their little message is it says, we ask everybody to do this because the government says they have to announce all that. But the thing that I love about them, and I'm going to encourage you to shop at these stores, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods. I think Ross is part of their chain. Yeah. So the great thing about them is that you walk in and they ask you, would you like a mask? And you say, no, thanks. And then they don't bother you. And then you hear the thing on the loudspeaker and it goes something like this. And I love it. So it says, please wear a mask unless you have a medical condition or other reasonable excuse not to, something like that. And it's basically, it's they're saying you can be in our store without a mask for whatever the heck reason that you have. Because other stores, some of the other stores say, can't if you can't wear a mask, then stay out and get curbside pickup or delivery. This store, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, I haven't been to Ross, but I think Ross, they say the opposite. They say, if you can't, you can shop. We ask you to wear the mask unless you have a medical reason or pretty much any other reason that is valid. But they don't define what valid is. So they've got my money. I'm going to shop there. And yeah. And the thing is, the Marshalls in Florida has not been welcoming at all. That's sad. That's a problem. I would also go on their corporate website and say and look at it, because that's what I did at Target. I actually went and I showed it to the manager there, and I said, you can't allow other customers to bully you into violating the medical rights of individuals. And so last time I went there, they didn't bother me. They hadn't bothered me before. And then one day somebody tattletaled on me, and the manager came all the way back to the back of the store and found me and said, can I get you a mask? And then, and I said yes, because I just wanted to buy time. So she went all the way back up to the front to get a mask. And then she came back and she had it in her hand and she handed it to me. And then I just said, thank you. And I walked away. And then she said, you have to put it on. I said, I don't actually. So it just, and here's the thing. I mean, I'm really polite. Somebody in the chat said the officer was maybe giving me a chance to ask for a police report. I don't even think they're going to file a report. There was no crime. There was nothing. Yeah. I'm going to contact the stores. Yeah, contact the stores that tell you how wonderful it is. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just letting everybody know, at least in my part of Virginia, which is absolutely super liberal, that our Marshalls and TJ Maxx and Home Goods are being extremely reasonable. So I'm very happy about that. And so I encourage you to patronize them whenever you can, at least mine. Now sometimes it's management, right? Sometimes you have the management uh, um, yeah, sometimes you have the management that is just, tyrants, like that woman at the store that I was at. She was just horrible. And the thing is, like, my family's been shopping there. We've been buying from them, way before the internet. Back when they just had the catalog and you would get things in the mail. And I mean, everything, like our dog beds, dog collars, luggage, um, boots. I mean, my niece, her first backpack was from there when she went to kindergarten. So it just, it's really a problem. Um, yeah. Mandates are not law, but you still need lawyers and a lot of money to fight. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Sheila. So, I wanted to tell you that because, at some point I might publicize who it is. It's a problem. I mean, it really is. Um, yeah, shutting down a restaurant, just insane. Yeah. Who is suing Mike Lindell? Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. I think Dominion is suing him, isn't he? Yeah, see, they don't want you to go out. They don't want you to go out in public. That's the big thing, is they want people to stay home. They don't want people to socialize. They, like, one of my friends, her life, like her social life is sports. And they love sports, they love going to concerts, they love doing all these things that normal people do in a normal society. And uh and this is what they wanted to stop. But you know I think it's going to get better. It might get worse before it gets better, but I think it is going to get better. I do believe the president is coming back. But what I wanted to tell you is that I just saw this article from America's Frontline Doctors. They posted it on their Telegram channel. It says federal law prohibits employers and others from requiring the shot um, uh, um, with a vaccine distributed under an emergency use authorization. Okay, so employers can't require it under the EUA stat. Organizers are free to encourage. This is interesting, but federal law prohibits them from requiring it. I'm going to put this in my Telegram. Isn't that interesting? So pay attention to this, because these things were made under emergency use authorization. And do you remember when the president said that he wasn't going to require it? And so they're pointing this out. They're saying that federal law prohibits it. So that's interesting. I would research that some more if you are in a business or in a job that says they're requiring it. Um, I was in an argument on Nextdoor with a person telling people not to eat in a certain restaurant. She had gone in for takeout and said everyone was laughing. That's so sad. Yeah, it's really sad. However, I think that you know I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing in the spirit realm, because I was listening to Sean Foyt. Do you guys follow him? He's the one who's doing the Let Us Worship concerts all over the country. And I follow him on Instagram, and he has been down in Mobile, Alabama, and they're on their, I think, third day of revival. Have you heard that? Have you seen that? It's incredibly encouraging. they're having so many people who are coming to Jesus they're that they're staying another day. They got the venue for another day. I mean, people. Do you remember the dream I had where people are just pouring out into the streets and with joy and laughter and you know just coming into freedom? That's what's happening. And so yeah, so it's Feucht, Sean Foyt. If you look up Worship Together, he's the one who did the big concert on the National Mall, and he's the one who's been leading these worship services out in California, even all through the summer. He would do these big worship services out on the beach. So it's pretty encouraging, very exciting. And he's a worship leader. He's the one who has the long curly hair. He ran for Congress. And it's kind of neat because he didn't get he didn't get the nomination. He didn't get nominated. What do you call it? He didn't win the primary, but I think the cool thing is that he got notoriety, right? He got into the public eye even more through running for Congress, and so God elevated him to a place of even more influence in running for Congress. So the primary goal wasn't achieved, but it was actually, God just sort of like got him in through the back door to be really well known, so that when he started doing this, because he was a Bethel worship leader, and so this just took him to a whole new level. He's from Vacaville, California. One of my friends was helping on his campaign. So it's Feucht. I'll type it in the chat. I think it's SeanFeFeu. It's very encouraging. Let us worship. Yeah. I got one of their sweatshirts when I went. I went up in DC. It was the day that I was up there. I don't know if you saw when I was up there, and I saw Larry Norris Jr. and I saw Andrea Joy and Lisa Parnell. Somebody else was up there. It was a few different people. Yeah, so I ran into them, and it was really neat. So he's doing this. Yeah, he's just doing some amazing things. So let me just see what your message. Patricia said the Supreme Court will not hear any of the cases for President Trump. Is there more news that came out today about that, or are you referring to what we heard yesterday about the Pennsylvania cases? It's very interesting, the revelation that's coming out about where people stand, isn't it? God is really shining a spotlight on the tyranny and on the compromise that people could that's coming out here. I just think it's very interesting because we want to know. Just looking to see what I can find here. Yeah, I mean we want to know. We want to know who's who. We want to see the sheep separated from the goats. We want to see the wheat from the chaff. We don't want tares coming up with the wheat, because you don't know until the harvest who the tares are. And so I think that it's just very interesting because we're seeing that, and God is really shining a light on this. 107 has been saying some interesting things recently. Julia, where has he been saying that? I haven't heard him on air lately. Many others about all the other cases. New law in Israel. Christopher, which law in Israel? I'm trying to see what's going on with the let me just see what's going on right here. Julia, can you send me whatever it is that you've been seeing from 107? Oh, I just saw this on Breitbart. Tiger Woods injured in serious car accident, extricated with the jaws of life. Did you guys see that? Anybody know anything about that? New law in Israel. Yeah, please send me what you have from Juan. Juan. So, yeah, Len Wood did say that the Supreme Court decision would be eye-opening. So my question though about the Supreme Court is, are you talking about what happened yesterday when they said that they wouldn't hear the Pennsylvania case? Or are you saying that they have completely refused to hear any of the cases? I need distinguishment. I need a distinction between those two because those are completely different scenarios. Gives the military the green light. Yeah, I don't know where. Can you send me the prime minister thing? That would be great. Whatever you have from Juan. Juan doesn't have his own channel. So if he's on another channel, just send it to me, either email it or and just please put it in the subject line. This is an interview with Juan. Sometimes something that I've noticed is that uh, people are starting to repost things that other people have done. They're doing this with a lot of the they're doing this with a lot of the influencers. So they're taking the X22 content, they're taking 107 content, and they're repurposing it on their YouTube channels, and they're using all kinds of headers like breaking news, urgent, prophetic, and like they're taking stuff that 107 said 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago. Sorry, that Hank Kunneman said, or even 107, and they're 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 posting it as though it was today or yesterday. It's very annoying. So be careful about that. Make sure that you're seeing and understanding when it was actually said. Because the thing about YouTube is if I post something on YouTube today, even if it's a replay of something, it's going to put today's date. And so if the notes don't distinguish, if the notes don't say this was originally streamed on December 18th, 2020, then you don't know. That's a thing about Facebook, YouTube, that's a little bit confusing. So just be aware of that when you're looking at these broadcasts. They will not hear any of the cases. Interesting. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Uh, yeah, so Juan has been on with Prime and Jen on the Galactic Federation channel. Please send me a link. That would be awesome. Thank you. Uh, the crash has happened this morning and someone tweeted about it yesterday before it happened. Wow, that's crazy. Hmm. Very interesting. Hmm. Okay, they're saying the jaws of life are not used. So Breitbart is reporting that the jaws of life. Can you send it via messenger? Yeah, I just hope I get it. I don't always get my notifications on there. Yeah, so let me go back to this thing about reposting, because what I want you to understand is this. I've noticed something happening online because we used to be more centralized. People used to be on Twitter a lot. That was like the central hub for information, and you had certain people that you trusted. And what's happened since that great purge off of Twitter is that opportunists have come in and they're opening all these Telegram rooms and they're pretending to be certain people, and they're taking YouTube content, they're taking recorded content and they're reposting it on YouTube as their own content, and they're using the names of the people that have done the interviews, like the famous names. It's basically clickbait, and they're trying to grow their channels. So be very careful about that, because it's it's a it, it's something that people do because they're opportunists. They're taking advantage of a void. It's just human nature. It's a little bit like it's what con men do. they take advantage. It's like that movie. It's like that movie. Was it The Wedding Crashers? Was that the movie? What was the one where they found out? Um, what was that movie where Vince Vaughn and the other guy they would read the obituaries, and they would, or I think it no, they would read the wedding announcements, and they would go to the wedding. They would go to the weddings, and they would basically they were con men. you know, that's what's happening now. Like people are trying to they're gaming the system because they know that people are lonely. They're looking for people that have lost their way, and they're trying to fill that void. Uh, yeah, so there's a million pirate channels of Mel K and Charlie Ward exactly. See, yeah, so just be very aware of that. Wedding crashers, thank you. So, and it's hard to find the people uh, who have been censored for sure. I mean, people have a hard time finding my channel, Mary Grace Media. hmm Yeah. Juan's having a conference with patriots and their platforms to discuss how to help people when things start to get revealed. He said things will start in spring and go through the end of the year. Yeah, I was talking to some friends who were with him over the weekend. So um, El Chapo's wife was indicted yesterday. Remember when people were talking about Nancy Pelosi meeting her in Italy? That's interesting. Hmm. Somebody just asked a question about Pence, and I talked about him quite a bit yesterday, so you might want to go back and watch yesterday's show. Uh, doesn't the military option run out on the 4th? I don't know the answer to that. So I think Vince Vaughn is a Hollywood conservative. In the YouTube chat, yeah, I believe that. So is that what your friends are saying? What what's the question in reference to, Julia, about my friends? El Chapo's wife was arrested in Virginia. That's interesting. There's a lot of fakes of X22. Yeah, they're taking his content. He's not on YouTube anymore. He's on Rumble, and he has his own website. Yeah, so Trump is going to be at CPAC. Yeah. So, yep. So listen, I wanted to remind you that the I wanted to remind you that I'm going to be switching up my time. I was going to do it next week, but I think we'll just go ahead and switch to 5:30 Eastern. I'm not broadcasting on Wednesdays right now. I'm just broadcasting on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. That being said, it's supposed to be a nice day tomorrow here, and if it's not too windy, I probably will try to do a walk and talk, and I do those typically just on YouTube. So if you're not following me on YouTube, make sure you are. If you are on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And so if I decide to go live on YouTube, I will let you know, and it will probably be at about 4 o'clock because I have a meeting a little bit later in the day. So 4 o'clock. So I could be doing that. I'm gonna be yeah, I'm gonna be away this weekend, but I will be on Thursday at 5:30. Yeah, but tomorrow, like I said, tomorrow um, if I do broadcast, if I do a walk and talk, it'll be at about 4 o'clock. So between 3:30 and 4. So just keep your notifications on, set a little alarm just to check YouTube at that time. I won't be broadcasting on both channels when I do the walk and talk, just on YouTube. All right. So somebody said Jim Caviezel has made a movie about child trafficking. It's called The Sound of Freedom. Yeah. So I have some friends who were there at the premiere. They said it was very good, very powerful, and yeah, yeah, really very powerful. So yeah, I think the important thing about President Trump is that you need to make sure that you're only following Don Jr. When it comes to news about the president, yes, 4 o'clock Eastern. When it comes to news about the president, make sure that you're following Don Jr. and make sure you're following the official George Telegram. It has a blue check. Don Jr. has a blue check on Telegram. George, the news channel, has a blue check on Telegram. Those are the two outlets that I would trust for news about what the president is doing. For example, communication directly from the president. I would trust those two outlets to deliver communication from the president. Of course, his children, right? Eric or Ivanka or something like that. But right now, I would, in terms of anybody having inside intel or anything like that, or the president broadcasting, I would trust those two, or you know what I'm saying. If he's going to do a network or anything like that, just be wary of that kind of information. So just follow those two. But I told you guys that the president was at Mar-a-Lago over the weekend, right? And he's in very good spirits. So, he's happy. I think CPAC is going to be very interesting. He's going to be speaking Sunday at CPAC. Yeah, follow George News Telegram and follow Don Jr. Those are very reliable sources of information. X22 is great too. He does more interpretation though, right? So just be aware of that. Just be aware, like I'm somebody that interprets the news. Sometimes I give you information that I have that I can validate, but usually I'm just giving you my interpretation. So I haven't mentioned it today, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that you can still get superfoods from me. And if you're not sure what that is, it's organic green superfoods. It's one of the best sources of food on the planet. And I think that if you are not using superfoods, you're missing out. I do encourage you to get information and to educate yourself about what's going on with the food supply. If you've been having health problems, if you've been having trouble losing weight, there's a chance that it might not be entirely your fault because of the additives that are in the food, because of all of the things that they've done to the soil. So make sure that you send me an email, info@marygracemedia.com, so that you can get a voucher to save $100 or more off of your full year supply. That would be great. Off of a full month supply of your superfoods. And the great thing about the superfoods too is that they're shelf stable. And I was talking to some people about what happened in Texas, and in a situation like that, even where you don't have electricity, if you had the superfoods on your shelf, all you have to do is rehydrate them. And it's not like these survival packs that are just a bunch of not necessarily organic foods, like low quality. This is the highest quality food you can get. So dollar for dollar, you're getting the best nutrition you can afford, and it's shelf stable, which is fantastic. I love it. And I've told you guys some of my stories about how I've had so many life-changing experiences with the superfoods. A lot of people have. If you're dealing with thyroid and hormones, yeah, that's a problem. And a lot of it is because of what's happened, to the food supply. It's not all your fault. And so, if you're dealing with those hormonal issues and imbalances, definitely get in touch with me, info@marygracemedia.com, and find out how you can get these superfoods into your body. It's extremely therapeutic. But the thing is, it tastes good. It doesn't taste like medicine. So it's good for you, but it tastes great. And Lauren is saying, as a very active delivery driver, superfoods are the bomb. Thanks, Doc. Yeah. So the superfoods are fantastic. And I have people who are super active who are using the superfoods. And so it's not just for losing weight, it's for energy. And you get an energy dip in the afternoon. You don't really get those once you're on the superfoods, to be honest. So it's a great source of nutrition. Just there's so many good stories, so many testimonials. And if you do need to lose weight, this is a very safe, nutritious, and very tasty way to do that. So I'm going to sign off. Like I said, thank you everybody for being here. If you want to support the show, you either purchase superfoods because I do get a commission from that, or you can actually go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and click on support. And there's a couple ways over there that you can do that. Um, so uh, so Charles White is asking a very good question. Doesn't Alex Jones sell superfoods? Charles, I haven't analyzed what it is that they're selling, but what I would advise is if you send me an email, you can get the information that I have. I have an explainer video, and then you can just make a comparison and decide for yourself. Everybody just has to make that choice. But I can't really speak to what they have because I haven't looked at it. But that's a good question. So thanks for asking. Info@marygracemedia.com. So I will be back maybe tomorrow, definitely Thursday at 5:30. And I hope everybody has a good evening. And thank you so much for waiting and being patient today when I was running late. I will see you all tomorrow, hopefully, on a walk and talk. Take care, everybody.